Yes, the rumors were all rumors. I'm still alive. The mustache is still amazing. The Raider Nation is still crispy with information, ya boy. Ooh, I've been waiting for tonight. R8RBEAR! Woo! Let's go. Let's go. It's that bear you all know. Asaltante Oso. What's up? Often imitated, never duplicated. Nah, that fool with no hair, that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! The Raider Bear! Don't do that. No. Raiders! What's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. R8RBEAR Live, your host. And we're going to be talking about OTAs. We're going to be talking about minicamp. We're going to be talking about our Raiders, who's been standing out, who has not, who's been signed, who's kicking that and doing, really well out there. But first, Tradish! Short for traditional. Tradish. R8RBEAR Live! First comment. MVP tonight goes to David Pelkalima! DPC, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. You know, when I see you, I always go for something. I had to go with the military axe tonight. Oh, it's short but deadly. Second place, my silver medal goes to my reigning heavyweight champion of the world, Mark Vargas, that emoji making son of a gun. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Third place, my bronze medal goes to John the Lion. Always giving L's, but never taking losses. My guy, John the Lion. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And on to my Facebook fam, my Facebook peeps, who I started it all with. Numero uno, number one, the champ, el jefe. I hope your family's in the front room, brother. Carlos Boykins, my reigning Facebook heavyweight champion of the world, Carlos Boykins. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Good to see you. And by the way, just so you know, there were a lot of people who checked in on me, but one of the first, and he did it through R8RBEAR family page, and I just really appreciated that, was my guy, Carlos Boykins, checking in on me. So I really appreciate you, Carlos. Much love. Silver medal, second place, Marvin! Ooh, I got a good one. Suarez! I love Mexican names, man. I just do. They're so good. Hernandez, Gonzalez. I love it. I love Spanish last names. They're just so cool. They have all that culture. You know what I mean? I love that. Third place, my bronze medal goes to a Raiderette. You think I could talk with how many days I took off? A Raiderette with style and grace. Karina True. Hello. Mwah. Much love to you, sister. Good to see you, as always. Shout out to my good man, Lucky Pace. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. That sultry sounding son of a gun. Missed you guys. Kevin Kahu Hano. Also honorable mention. Hi, honey. Hi, guys. He has a family, boy. Y'all big boys. Jimmy Mata, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Joe Holman in the house. That's my guy right there. Jesse Parker, my fashion designer. Got to hold out my pinky because, I act cocky when I talk about Jesse, my personal clothing guy. I have to think of a more arrogant name for it than that, Jesse Parker. Don't worry, we're only how many minutes in? We're a few minutes in, and we're going to have plenty of Raider to discuss. Trust me. We're going into it. Ellis Irving, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I've been good. I had to take a little time away, Ellis, just doing stuff for family. That's all. It was nothing bad. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't sick. Well, I did get a little bit of food poisoning last week, and that had me down for like 3 days, honestly. And that sucked. It was just stomach stuff, you know what I mean? I ate something I was about to say I ate something I shouldn't have, but it was steak. It just was a little bit off, I think. I don't know. I hate going at restaurants for stuff like that unless it like really makes me sick, you know what I mean? Well, and it did, so so maybe I should go after. Excuse me, I'm wearing the sky blue Raider gear tonight. I know you guys love it. No, I know you don't. My daughter she's all, ooh, you're going to wear the cool new baby blue? I'm all, yeah, but my audience probably won't like it. No, I'm kidding. I know you guys wouldn't give me a hard time about it, but I've had so many Raider fans like, bro, it's cool, but, where's the black? I wear black all the time. I have this one. This one's one of my favorites. It's just a slate gray, and I call this one this is the Ferrari I keep in the garage. I just love that. But I had to show you guys the sky blue. That was what Mama Bear got me for my Father's Day. It was really sweet. S.A. Big Dog. Oh, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Well, S.A., what's cooking is our wide receiver. Our draft pick is looking for real. Good hands. He's been in the plays as far as like, obviously everyone's in the play, so I said that poorly. But what I mean is he has a knowledge of the playbook already that's enough that when they're running certain things in camp, they're able to really see what he's got and they can cut loose because he's aware of it. He's on the same page, and is already demonstrating hands and understanding route running. And so we got something with the kid we brought in from Tennessee. I always say his last name wrong, but the kid Dante Jr. But he a bad man, and already you got some Raiders pretty much raving about him. Also on the top, what was it? The top 100 players, they have Max Crosby and Ashton Genty on there already. And they're basically saying, a lot of analysts are basically saying that this might be it. Because people know Pete Carroll's legit. Pete Carroll is legit. He just is, guys. This is different than when we've gotten other coaches in the past. And we held our breath and crossed our fingers and hoped that, the Raiders would rise again. We didn't really have guys that could do that. John Gruden, as much as people may have loved him, and I'm not even going to go into his emails and all the scandal stuff. I'm just talking about just as a football coach. John Gruden was always kind of a 50-50 guy. He was always going to give you 70 wins and 70 losses. He just, if you go back and you look at his record, it looks okay now. He does have more wins than losses, but there was a time there where he had like 75 wins and 77 losses. It wasn't good, you know what I mean? Or at least it's average, you know what I mean? I don't want a 50-50 coach. Karina True! Hello, and Dustin King! Appreciate the love on the stars. And remember, all of you, to consider a subscription to Raider Bear Family Page. It's just $5 a month, but you can cancel it at any time. And it helps us to do great goods with charities all over the world. We have some more that we're working on recently, but I have forgotten them, so... No, I'm kidding. I kind of not kidding. But Mama Bear put these ones together, so she did all the legwork. And Found out what was going on. I know that we're working with the big one with military veterans. We're working on that one now. We were surprised, actually, like fallen military. I feel bad because I can't remember the name. Wounded Warriors. The Wounded Warriors Project. I apologize. I remembered though. Carrying on. So working on with Wounded Warriors, and they were very like receptive when we reached out to them and said we want to do this and we want to do this. They were like, cool. Warriors. When we did that with the people here in Arizona, they like wanted my ID, a blood sample, a retinal scan. I'm like, what the hell? I'm just trying to help the people in Arizona that are the most, unfortunate, and you want to check my backbone, my Wikipedia. All right, here we go. Tim Newport. Okay, Raider Bear. This is Peggy. You can score on me tonight. I can't believe my Steelers signed Aaron Rodgers. Peggy, I wasn't going to do it, but I am now. The Pittsburgh Steelers, that looks so desperate. You fell for the okie doke. You landed in the trap. You slipped into the quicksand. I thought everybody knew about this guy by now. He's Mr. Ayahuasca trip now. He's Mr. 3 days in a dark room. He's Mr. Fifth Fiance, and all 5 of them look the same. Never, and I mean never bring up Aaron Rodgers in front of the Raider Bear. Never, okay? I put foots in him. Peggy went and done it. Okay, she talked about the one person that gets my dander up. Okay, A-Rod. No, I feel bad for you, hun, honestly, and I really appreciate you being classy and being funny with it, because I'm kidding, but I think that Aaron Rodgers has a chance with them, because your coach will know what he is now. He's not that guy that's going to beat all these teams with his arm anymore. He's just not that guy. Now, does he still have arm talent? Is he still accurate? Is he still smart? He's got all those things still. So I'm just being an honest fan with you when I say, although I think the A-Rod project is a loser and that it will not work, it very well could. It very well could, because your coach will know who he is. He'll use mostly the running game and defense. And let's be honest, that's Steeler football anyway. And so they're only really going to ask Aaron to get him here and there, and because of his experience, every once in a while he can audible out of a run and burn him with a throw somewhere. And, if they put a couple of players around him, he'll have a good one. Hero. Low-key, T-Tuck can have a breakout year on being a big play specialist with ya boy G. Smitty. Great comment. Hey, Bear, how far are you from Scottsdale? I'm thinking of moving the fam out to the sister property from where I currently work, the Estancia Club. Well, Scottsdale is very nice. It's very nice. It's a little expensive, but it's nice. And so, like, if you already have an inn with a house in Scottsdale, then that's the expensive part. So if you get past that, you're good. Other than that, I would say you'll probably really like it. Vicky Ginn Bear! Hi, Vicky. Mwah. Let's see. I've been on the Dante Thornton train since we drafted him. Me too, honestly. I'm hoping he can become the Optimus Prime to Calvin's Megatron. I like that. Raider DeVillion, you make Transformer reference. We can hang out. Okay. Now, having said that, I like him a lot too, to be honest with you. And what I was saying at the beginning of the show, I was explaining. He's already looking really good at OTAs and minicamp, and the way he's training, he's acting like a professional. And some of the guys on the roster are just basically saying, he might be him. That dude might be that dude. You know what I mean? Because he just looks real. What year is Tucker in year? I know Thornton looks good and big, but I just hope Tucker, the third rounder, can rise and do work. I believe he's in year 4, Hero, and more importantly, though, I like Tucker a lot. He showed something that you just don't see from a lot of wide receivers. He basically admitted, I don't have enough of a route tree where I can run splits and do hooks and run split post. delay posts, so on and so forth. He didn't have that in his repertoire. So in the off season of last season, he went to a wide receiver guru whose name I can't remember, but it was a former wide receiver in the NFL, and the guy taught him his footwork, and he came back, and everyone with the Raiders, including me, noticed it at OTAs. Immediately, he was doing the shuffle, 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 bam, shuffle, 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 bam, and he couldn't even really do that effectively before, and yet now he not only is doing it, but it looked like it was second nature to him already. So Tucker took a huge leap last year in his ability. The problem is that Tucker is not a draft pick. We don't have a lot of money into him. So when you have draft picks like Thornton's going to get all the balls. You see what I'm saying? That kid, Tommy Mellett's going to get the opportunity to be the number 3 wide receiver and take over the Hunter Renfrow position. So it's unlikely that Tucker is going to be there. In fact, Tucker might not even be on this roster when we start the season. And I don't mean that as disrespect to him. It's just a part of financial politics and roster spots. And there's just going to be free agents that are available, and the Raiders are going to make a play. I would be willing to bet you we're going to make another move here. And Jermaine Pratt signing, the linebacker, I mean, and you get a Landis from the Steelers. Peggy knows about that. And then now we bring in Jermaine Pratt. I mean, these are two just eat raw meat linebackers. And they're just going to go in and work. And now we just have to fit a little bit of scheme around them in the secondary. Well, who's the best at that? Pete Carrol. So, but we need a body. We definitely need another body. Vicky Jin! And we'll need a defensive back instead of at safety and some of these other places. Because Jeremy Chin is already becoming a leader on the team vocally. I love him. So, it's going to be nice. Vicky, he does not look like he's 60 years old. He looks more like about a 58. Peggy, no. No, seriously, I mean, come on. I mean, his brother hates him. He has no relationship with his mother or his father. They don't speak. And everyone that knows about that says it's because of Aaron Rodgers, including his 5 fiancées that are all brunettes and 4'11". What's up with that? Why do you keep going after the same Smurf? I lost my brunette love, so I'll get another one, and another one, and another one, What are you doing? And they've all been slowly going backwards from Danica Patrick. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, moving on. Ramiro, Cashflow Castro. He said, oh, you done messed up. Did I? Oh, hell. Denton Rhodes, Space Force. Nisi Tweet Thomas, always there for Raider Bear. I am doing great, love, and I always appreciate it when you swing by and say hello. And you have the most beautiful babies and grandbabies I've seen in a long time. Beautiful family. Number 17, Johnson, the wide receiver. Is he showing anything? I don't have anything to give you on that, Denton. I'd be making it up, and I don't do that. Is he in year 3? Okay, that's my bad, Raider Devilian. I thought he'd been here a little bit longer than that. My friend from all the way over an ocean, from the land of whiskey and crumpets, Kenny Blair! Now, also, just real quick, Ashton Jeanty, it kind of goes without saying, we all are just expecting him to be great. We all are. And we just had a guy recently who'd come out of college who wanted to keep his name anonymity, blah, 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 who said he's known Ashton since high school. And that he was doing these things since high school. That every level Ashton Jeanty goes to, his level goes up. So I'm excited to see what Ashton Jeanty's going to do for us even more than I already was by his obvious pedigree at Boise State. But he's going to be so nice. Nisi Tweet Thomas! And you notice, Nisi, I gave you the compliment before I saw your stars. That way you know it's real. I wasn't just kissing up. No cap. The Bear don't cap. Bear, I think we'll play with more discipline this year. Pete, great comment. Welcome to the show. And Pete, I got to tell you, not only are we going to play with more discipline, but Patrick Graham and what he wants to do defensively, when him and Pete Carrol sat down and spoke, they basically suddenly realized they play the same style defense. They want to run the same package, and Pete Carroll just basically said, I want the defensive backs, you get the linebackers and defensive line. And he said, cool. Now, that's not being reported a lot. So if you haven't heard that, you're hearing it from the R8RBEAR first and foremost. Remember that. That Pete Carroll is considered to be one of the best ever at working with defensive backs and safeties. And he proved that in Seattle with what he did in Seattle. And his own players, when he was in Seattle, made a point of saying, that guy up here, Pete Carroll, knows what he's doing. Now, if you go back and you look at what happened to a lot of those guys after they left Pete Carroll and Pete Carroll's system, they didn't really do too great because Pete Carroll knew exactly how to get the best out of each one of the guys he had. Remember Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman, shutdown guy, really aggressive, right? Goes to the Niners, still pretty good for about a year. And then after that, he started having injury problems, started having personal problems, and he was, fell off the earth. Then the big center that they had, not Cam Chancellor, but the other one, he went down, broke his ankle, went to some other team while he was screaming to go to Dallas. Dallas wouldn't pick him up. They all had a bad ending after Pete Carroll, which to me demonstrated that Pete Carroll was the architect, not only of that defense and what the secondary was doing in it, but his teaching made them all, on a scale of 1 to 10, those guys that were 5s and 6s became 7s and 8s. Those guys that were 7s and 8s became 8, 9s, and 10s. You see what I'm saying? 10's perfect, so nobody's perfect, but every once in a while, if you cut under a guy and you get that interception, that takes a 10-level play. And Richard Sherman has that. And I think we can get that out of Eric Stokes. I really do. I think Jacorian Bennett can give us that. I really do, because what Jacorian Bennett has all the tools physically. He just needs a Pete Carroll to show him when to gamble. Show him that when we recognize what they're in from play study during the week, now when we face them, if we see that, Pete Carroll's going to whistle at him and say, hey, come on, back in film study. Remember when this guy comes in, he gives you that double tap, and he goes on a slant, cut underneath him, get that interception. Let's go. And it's going to work. It's going to happen because Pete Carroll's the best, in my opinion, ever at doing that. And in all honesty, have you ever heard of another team even doing it? I haven't heard of another team even doing it. And when I say doing it, what I mean is where you have your two corners and your two safeties all communicating with just simple hand signals and saying, hey, this is what we're running, or this is what we're in, and doing it within a split second of the quarterback snapping the ball, so it throws the quarterback off when they see them shift into something else, or come up close to the line, or half in, half out, that kind of thing. All meant to confuse the quarterback, which it did, make them look a little bit longer, and then the defensive line would get to guys, which made their defensive line stars. When in reality, they were all right. Same thing with the defensive line. Those guys left the Seahawks. They went on to other teams, and it took the build of everybody. Pete Carroll is going to install that with us, and we're going to beat teams at first with defense. But as soon as Geno Smith starts getting on board, mid-year, I see us giving teams the business. I really do. I really do. I think Ashton's going to be a threat. I think they're going to have to move up to deal with Ashton Genty, and then Geno Smith's going to be able to do what he does. Look, if you ever wanted the Raiders to get back to the long bomb, Geno Smith's the guy to throw it. He just is, guys. And I'm not saying there's no one in the league better than him at that. What I'm saying is what was available at the time for us, who also already worked with our new head coach and throws a decent deep ball. Actually, I'd say better than decent. I don't want to be too conservative. He throws a damn good deep ball. So, deep ball coming back to the Raiders. Steven Marchant, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Jermaine Pratt, 6'3", 250. I'm also 6'3", and I'm also not 250. The closest I've gotten to 250 was my late 20s. I was getting in the gym like 3 hours a day, and I was going like 3 days a week, and I got up to like 225. That's 6'3", but I'm just not built like that. I've always been a skinny guy, so every time I stop, I start losing the weight, and I drop back down. Tim Newport, I just want to say, you are a blessed man, okay? To have a wife with this much sense of humor that gave you two beautiful babies, okay? You even think about cheating on her. Peggy gives me one call, and I'm going to put butts in you. We Raider husbands are good dudes. All right, now moving on. Peggy here again. Airhead Rogers needs a good offensive line, and we don't have one. We're toast. At least I'm an honest fan. Yes, you are. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, no, your offensive line's not so good. So, I mean, let's be honest. You're in transition. You really are. Your team's been in transition. They did sort of a soft reboot, instead of a rebuild, and it just didn't work. Hey, Bear, do you think we pick up a corner? Yes, Moses Ruiz. I don't think there's any doubt about it, but it won't be Jalen Ramsey. I just don't think it'll be Jalen Ramsey. Now, it could. Because if you pick up Jalen Ramsey, first thing every one of you is going to want to do is, oh, well, Bear, he's old now. He's always getting burned now, Bear. Oh, he's not as fast as he used to be. All right. But he looks an awful lot like Richard Sherman to me. Same height, same build, same attitude. I'm a cover corner guy. I blanket dudes. That's exactly how Richard Sherman saw himself, not as a hitter, but as a guy who got picks, interceptions, and covered guys to where quarterbacks said, nah, I'm not throwing that ball over there. It's too dangerous. Jalen Ramsey could be that under Pete Carroll's stewardship if Pete Carroll can get him to dial it in and stay within the system and take risks when they see them, which I think Jalen would. Because we all know Jalen's a little bit of a knucklehead, but he's older than he's ever been. So to me, that means that combination usually brings maturity with it. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you that woman that needs no introduction, but has one of the best in the business. That red-headed lady of rage. Woo! The Mama Bear. Sup, Ma? Woo, looking red as ever.
Oh, wait, there.
Hurting these Niner fans. Unavailable to you. Sorry. Get over it. It's the only thing red in Raider Nation that all of Raider Nation likes. Mama Bear. All right, I'm guessing you came in just to tell me something super quick and run out?
I came in to make sure you had coffee, and I see that you did.
Yep.
And
you're such a good one.
We watched the chip challenge.
And I showed him the hat. You got me.
Oh.
I was wearing it at the beginning.
And no one gave you crap because it's...
No one gave me crap, so I got ahead of them giving me the crap and took it off and put this one on. Because I didn't want anyone to feel like they had to give me the crap.
Okay.
You know you were going to give me the crap.
Shoes, so.
Yeah. I didn't tell him about the shoes. She got me a pair of Chuck Taylor 70s Gore-Tex in the sky blue matching the hat. I know. Sexy head to toe. I know. It's all on her. So what's up, Mama Bear?
I was watching the chip challenge, and a girl did 2 in a row with no drinks.
What?
Yeah, lasted for 2 minutes and said...
On the chip challenge?
I'll do 3, nigga. And he was like, no, take another. She's like,
damn.
1. She's going to do 3.
Damn. Boy, someone grew up liking the hot food.
Hella funny. Me and all real were laughing.
King Ed, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Moses Ruiz, I hope that answers your question. I don't want to go as far as to say who I think it'll be. I'm taking Jalen Ramsey because I'm hearing a lot about Jalen Ramsey, but personally, I like Eric Stokes. I like what we did with him. Now, there is that other guy, Jermaine something, that everyone's talking about. They've got Raider Nation all hyped about the guy, except me. I don't like him. Hold on. I know I have his name in my notes here. Hold on. Jair Alexander. He's a cover corner defensive back from the Green Bay Packers. I've already done my research. He's good, but he's one of those guys that talks himself up. In other words, he makes you think he's an 8, and in reality, he's a 6. That sometimes is a 7, and he gets hurt. And injury history, I'm not interested in. You know what I mean? Now, almost every player has been hurt, here and there. But from what I understand, his injury history hurts him. Oh, there it is. Stephen Marchant said, the best show is the Raider Bear show. That's my guy right there. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And look at that beautiful baby profile picture. Look at you. I love babies. I'm not too tough a guy to say that. I love babies. I'd have 15 of them if I could. Jonathan Jose Fernandez. Let's talk about our new linebacker core. What's your thoughts, Bear? Well, first, in the middle is enough. I like what we did already with Alandis Roberts. And now with Jermaine Pratt, you got 2 guys there. Those are proven dudes, okay? proven dudes. And when I say dudes, I mean like dudes. I mean, these guys are tough. Okay, these aren't just linebackers. These are guys that have a reputation that they feel they have to re-up every time that whistle blows and the next play starts. You got to blast guys. And that's how both these guys play. And I guarantee you, when they walked into the locker room and saw each other and realized they were going to be teammates, come on, man. Every guy that's watching the show right now and girl has played a sport and knew of someone else that was real good, and then you ended up playing with them, and you're like, okay, okay. Now we go. Now you're all in for it. Okay, and that's kind of how this feels. It feels like this linebacker core went from, hey, we need to get some guys, to, damn, this might be a strength. Because remember, we brought back Amari Burney. He's looking great. We brought in Jalen Smith. When Jalen Smith can stay healthy, that guy's a monster, okay? And then our very dead last pick linebacker, I forget where I think it was Boston College, but he's already getting comparisons to Brian Urlacher. Let that sink in, because Brian Urlacher is a Hall of Famer, okay? But what do we know about Brian Urlacher? Wasn't the fastest guy, wasn't the biggest guy, but was the biggest guy in here. You know what I mean? And obviously, I'm not a Chicago Bear fan, but I was a Brian Urlacher fan. I love linebackers. It's probably my favorite position. And I've never been an offensive guy. I like seeing our team score. I like offensive players. But me personally, whenever I've played football at any level, whether it was school and organized or with friends, I wanted to hit people. I wanted to hit people. I want to hit people. I still want to hit people. So the linebacker core looks awesome. And then when you think about the fact that now you've got Masterson coming back, another year smarter, he was already getting better. And then we started to get pieces, and it looked like he might not break the starting lineup. But he's going to get play. He's still real nice. He's a puffed up, strong safety playing linebacker. So he brings that speed. He's got great hands. But most of you know that Masterson, in the last couple of years, has gotten at least an interception or two the last couple of seasons. And so he's shown that he's got good hands. Jalen Smith, I mean, great lateral speed. So should be really good. And then also coming out of camp, DJ Glaze. Now, all of us were concerned about different positions on the team, but one of the greatest concerns, in my opinion, was right tackle. You got to protect your quarterbacks, right? So you got to. So we've got some guys. We drafted some guys, and everything is looking like we're going to have an absolute, Mortal Kombat battle at right tackle, because now all of a sudden, with the amount of bodies we brought in, we've got at least 3 or 4 guys. Thayer Mumford, DJ Glaze, and then the 2 picks we brought in from the draft are all playing well. They're all playing well. And so now, here's the name I'm going to throw at you, though, that everyone at camp is saying, if the season started right now, we know who our right tackle would be. And it might surprise some of you, but it didn't surprise me. And I don't mean that's because I'm really smart or anything. I've just liked this guy for a while. Now, it's not Thayer Mumford. And when Thayer Mumford got on the team and we saw him work, and then he came back from his second season, I really thought Thayer Mumford was going to take the job, and he just hasn't. You know what I mean? From what I understand, he gets banged up a little bit, and it's little stuff that just kind of keeps him from being all-star, level play. Instead, he's just good. But DJ Glaze out of Maryland is the kid they said he came back and he just looks incredible. Lost a little weight, but gained size, still has footwork and speed. He looks like the same player that came in last year, but with a little bit more muscle and a little bit, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and a little better footwork. So this sounds like another guy who was probably working in this off season and not eating food and messing around. And he got to work. And it's showing in OTAs, because the Raiders are talking about it, DJ Glaze, and they think that he might be the guy. Barring an injury, it's probably going to be DJ Glaze. I hope Zachary Franklin, the wide receiver, makes the practice squad. A slow guy with some real live hands and catch radius. Okay. Well, honestly, Raider Devillion, As far as the practice squad, if he gets on the practice squad, he may see a few plays. Because remember, we're not exactly deep at wide receiver. If you really look closely at what we have at wide receiver, one guy gets an injury and we have a problem. Because then you have to shift everyone up to the 1 and then the 2 and then 3. And, and the bench right now, wide receiver wise, it's not embarrassing or anything, but it's not the talent level that we would like going into the season if it started right now. Okay, Vicky, appreciate you coming in at work and all. How will the new Raider offense fare this season? Will Coach Pete Carroll get this team to the postseason? Okay, King Ed, great question again. And I would say this to you. I think that we can make it to the playoffs. Here's the thing. As an honest host, though, I like to say the first year, usually that's the build. You know what I mean? Now, Pete Carroll's only got a 2-year contract. So that's what makes me feel like he's all in right now. He's not thinking, I'm going to build a team and hopefully, golly gee, I hope we're good. No. He's saying, I'm going for the playoffs, and then I'm going to try to win a Super Bowl with defense and running game. And if we get into the playoffs, all bets are off. Because when you have Max Crosby and your defensive line can get pressure, that's something that just not every team in the league can do, especially not with a guy at the level of Max Crosby. Now, Peggy knows what I'm talking about. That kid TJ Watt she has is just what I'm talking about. If we had a TJ Watt on the other side of our line with Max Crosby, I would say to you, yes, we are going to a Super Bowl. Did I blink? No, I did not. But the problem is that guy and guys like that, they're tied up in contracts. We got to find him. And we're trying to make Malcolm Kuntz that guy, giving him that 1-year deal and giving him a shot, and gave him pretty good bank for a 1-year deal. And, hopefully he's going to do it. Any updates on Wilkinson? Do we have a solid backup for the nose tackle position to take some pressure off Max and Kuntz? Kevin, no, there's not really much back about Wilkins yet. They're probably going to be quiet about that until we get right up until the preseason and camps are over. Once the 53-man cut down happens, then around then we'll hear an update, because at that point, even the reporters know you got to get the guy on the field. If he can be on the field, you got to get the guy on the field. Because you got to get him through reps, used to his new teammates, etc., and you can't just do that just by meeting him. You got to get out on the field and run, and I don't know if he's going to be ready. I really don't. Because the bad thing with feet, with big men, it ends careers. Michael Guerrero, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Raider Bear 2028, and I'll take it. Guess what I found out, guys? Ruggs is out already on house arrest and is going to give this talk at some meeting. Too bad your owner won't condone that, BC. Lots of Raiders need all the help you can get. Well, Hero, I don't disagree with needing all the help we can get, but he's the guy that we're the team that all that stuff happened with. If he goes to another team, it looks like you're just rehabbing his image. And he'll be able to go out there, make catches, make plays, get the crowd cheering, and the people will move on from it. The same way they moved on from Kobe and rape allegations the second he started winning games again. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why do we have to get caught up in that, in the legalities of things? They're athletes, and that's why we tune in to see athletes. So now if there's this other side stuff, don't ask me to take that so passionately that I'm not going to follow that guy or don't want him on my team anymore. Having said that, Henry killed someone, though. You know what I mean? He killed someone doing something that he had a multitude of opportunities where he could have made a smarter decision. Just one of those opportunities would have made a smarter decision, and that young lady and her dog would be alive. And instead, he killed a young lady and her dog in the prime of her life. I mean, she was in like her early 20s. I can't remember exactly how old she was, but she was super young, and so here I am, Hero. I'm trying to show you how I agree with you and don't agree with you, and here's why. I don't want him back with the Raiders because this is where it happened. We're the team he put this stigma on, and it's going to be a talking point forever, no matter what he does. Whereas if he goes to the Eagles or he goes to, any team, just stay out of the AFC West. But if he goes to any other team, It just looks like a heroic, happy, get behind him, trying to straighten his life back out again. I'm not saying he shouldn't be allowed to play. That would be like me saying he's not allowed to have a job. That's ridiculous. He's allowed to have a job. Okay, if he's out, he can go get a job, and that's what the NFL is. It's a job. We forget that because it's our sport and we love it so passionately. But if he goes out there and he gets a job with the Cleveland Browns, the Titans, the Texans, someone like that, cool. That way he can rehab his image. It won't be dragging him down. It'll come up at first, the first few times he's out there and later on in the season. But the following year and the following year after that, it'll be a dead story. Whereas with us, it would never die. Vicky again asks if we could please take a moment to pray for her and her mother. She lost her mom. I love you, girl. We got my mic here. Much love. I'm sorry to hear that, Vicky. My mother has Alzheimer's, so she can't communicate with me at all. It's really hard. I told people it's like losing your mom twice, you know what I mean? Because I know she's going to pass away sooner or later. But in the meantime, I can't talk to her. I can't take her anywhere. We can't watch a movie together. Nothing. It's tough. And I don't mean to bring the show down somber. We'll get back to it. But I just want you to know, Vicky, I hate it when people say, I know what you're going through, when they haven't lost their mom, so you don't really know what she's going through. But I lost my dad 2 years ago, and that hurt. And my mom is like my world, so this sucks. But you'll get through it, girl. Time heals all wounds. That's what I've been trying to teach my son, because he's in all these breakups with this girl he was crazy about. And so, yeah, a lot of emotions around here lately. Bear, I hope you and those who believe in Gino are right about this season. I think Gino's going to hold us back. Carlos! Boy! Oh, no, I'm going to do it again. Ken, I would say this to you, see. I like him. I do. I honestly, and I want to be clear. I'm being a hypocrite. I'm putting foots in myself because, in all honesty, I called him a bust when he got to the Colts and he was in his locker room and his own linebacker broke his jaw. I mean, or not with the Colts. Maybe that was when he was still with the Giants. I can't remember. But whatever team he was with, the middle linebacker for the team broke his jaw because he stood him up for a charity event the guy was running. And he asked Gino to be there. He paid for the flight. He paid for him to have a limo. He paid for it to be catered. He had all these hundreds of kids there. And then Gino stood him up without any explanation. After he said to all the kids and got them all excited, Geno Smith, the quarterback in the NFL, is coming, and then humiliates the guy. And so he broke Geno Smith's jaw, and I was just laughing ear to ear about it because we all know when Geno Smith came into the league, he was looked at as a guy that could be a perennial starter and a great player. You know what I mean? And he wasn't that, and he looked like he had all kinds of problems. Then he goes to a team, then he goes to another team, then he ends up with the Seahawks, and Pete Carrol basically reinvents him. You know what I mean? And now I have a little faith in what I saw him doing with the Seahawks. I just do. Now, I'm not going to lie, Carlos. Of course, we both can, agree. He's not a great player. He's not a great quarterback. But can he do things for us? And in my opinion, could he be better than Derek Carr was for us? Absolutely. And I'm saying that once again, no blinks. And it's no disrespect to Derek Carr. It really isn't. It's just that I think he can do things in a shorter amount of time that Derek never did. He may get us into the playoffs and win a playoff game. He may get us into the playoffs and maybe win a ring. He's got that kind of potential. I think he does. You know what I mean? I think it was dormant. I think that sometimes we forget that these players that come into the NFL, they really do still need 3 years. In my opinion, you may get a guy that comes in and is rookie of the year like Brock Bowers, and he just looks incredible. And look at Brock, he's just so good. But guys, I'm telling you, everything you saw with Brock Bowers, we were all impressed. He broke all sorts of rookie records, right? What's he going to do when he gets a little bit more experience? He's going to be even better. You see what I mean? So it doesn't matter how you start your rookie season. If you have a bad season, if you have an average season, or if you break almost every rookie record there is that means anything at the tight end position, it still doesn't mean that you won't be better in 3 or 4 years. Most of the time you are. Because if you ever make it to the NFL and you get picked, that in and of itself is amazing. The NFL right now is sharpened to an edge. There's more guys coming out of schools and going into the NFL than ever before. And so when you have that, it makes it harder and harder and harder year after year after year to make it in there at that level, let alone stay there. So I think Geno could be good for us. I think he has staying power. I think he remade himself in his throw, and I think he's going to be good for us. Pete Vasquez, I don't like Davis. I'll never like Davis. I don't care what Davis does. If we get a Super Bowl, it'll be because Pete Carrol and Geno Smith got us there. It won't have anything to do with Mark Davis. Mark Davis has been bringing guys in that have been bums and losers all this time, but now if he gets it right with Pete, I'm supposed to give him some credit? Hell no. This is Pete Carroll's team. I'm not a Davis guy. Now, I could talk to you about the cocaine arrests. I could talk to you about the prostitutes. I could talk to you about all that stuff, but I'm not going to. Although I already did, sort of. Quick short shot to the Davis balls. But truth be told, my only problem, and I mean this seriously, I have one problem with Davis. And it's not his turtleneck. It's not his haircut. Nope. It's not the eternal flame that isn't real. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm sorry, it's stupid. I love the Raiders. I love you guys, but it's stupid. Watching digital fire roll through that plastic wrap. It's stupid. We already had a good flame thing for Al. Why didn't you just make the same thing and make it bigger? Instead, he gives us this Tesla flame. Sorry. The only thing I said a lot of stuff. The only thing about Davis I don't like is he doesn't know what he doesn't know. You have a lot of rich people out there that because they've become rich, and it's usually because of industry that they're in, where their mind was sharp, they made great decisions, and then they made themselves into a millionaire or billionaire, whatever the case may be. But the problem with that is that people like that don't know what they don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? In other words, I've met a lot of doctors, okay? They're really brilliant. They can do brain surgery. I've met doctors like that because long story short, I used to work with a physical therapy place, and I was the guy that because of my background as an athlete and a trainer and a life coach and so on, I got the job, and so I worked with them for 4 or 5 years. And so part of what we did was once a week, we would travel out and meet doctors. So every doctor I met, though, that was all they could do. Literally all they could do. They can't cook. They can't change diapers or raise kids. They can't make bottles. They don't know how to work on a car. They don't know fashion. They don't know colognes. They don't know places to go. They're just, you know what I mean? They just know how to be a doctor because it takes so much intense work to be good at that you're not good at anything else. It's true. And that's what Davis is. Davis doesn't realize he's not good at football. Just because you sat on your daddy's lap while he was a genius does not mean it rubbed off on you. Mark. Such a terrible name. Nah, if we got Ramsey, we need him at free safety, being a ball hawk, replacing the void Woodson left. Well, Raider Divillion, I don't care where they play him. I'm just simply saying that if they get Ramsey, I'm good with it. But if they don't get him, I'm kind of good with that too. I don't really have a problem. He's one of those guys that he's polarizing. He's a lightning bolt. He brings press. And some people would argue that's a distraction. You know what I mean? But I think that there's enough veteran presence, both from our coach and Max Crosby and other guys on the roster, that Jalen would dial it in, see that he has a legitimate shot here to win with a good team, and, act accordingly, professionally. And as far as your idea of free safety, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying if they brought him in to be a corner like he's always been, in Pete Carroll's system, Pete can bring him back to where he'll have a better technique for him to where now his talent will rise to the forefront again. Even if on a scale of 1 to 10, Jalen Ramsey back in the old days was an 8 and a 9, he would now be a 7 that can reach an 8 or a 9 from time to time, from knowledge of the game that he gains from Pete and film study and attacking with his teammates. Jeff Thompson. Okay, anyone that writes this in their comment gets read. I don't mean to be biased. I agree with everything you're saying about Pete Carrol. That's right. He agrees with everything I'm saying. So in Gino, your relationship is amazing. In fact, what Pete's doing for this whole organization is amazing. We finally have a chance to some teams up. These boys love Pete Carrol. They love everything he's about. He's a player's coach, but he knows how to motivate and he knows how to get people to pay attention, and everything's a competition. Your job ain't safe. You got to prove it, and that's what's going to take the Raiders to the next level. Jeff, great comment. I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I would say this to you. Pete Carroll's presence on the roster is the absolute opposite of what we were getting from Josh McDaniels. You notice that? Pete Carrol is the anti-Josh. He's everything Josh is not. Where Josh is quiet, Pete's loud. Where Josh is personable, right? Or is not personable, Pete is ultra personable, etc., etc., etc. And then experience and so on. I don't care how long Josh has been in the league. I don't care. And then the stuff he did with the Patriots, I don't care. Because now everything he's done, other than for the Patriots, sucked. And everything has sucked that's come out of New England since our minority owner left. That's just a fact. And I don't mean to pat Tommy Balls on his back and, give him praise because he's a jerk. Who I put foots in routinely. Tuck rule. Cabron. Sorry, I hate that guy. And I did it in front of Anna Diaz-Rincon using the bad words. I'm sorry. Anna Diaz, I know you already saw my comment. Girl, that dress you wore to the wedding, girl. Somebody's husband was real happy about that. You know what, Carlos? No. Mama Bear has had all three colors. For a couple years, she was a blonde. For a few years, it was jet black, and then when she did red, that was it. And she's been sitting on red ever since. It's been red for like 15 years now, something like that. Can we rename her from the redheaded Lady of Rage to the redheaded Baroness? Oh. Jesse Parker, your G.I. Joe is showing, okay? Don't do that. I wonder if anyone else got that. Did anyone else get that? One of the big bad guys from the old G.I. Joe cartoons on the bad side with the bad guys, Cobra, was the Baroness. And my boy, Jesse Parker, my fashion designer, I'm going to start like twisting my mustache when I say it. My fashion designer. He's a huge G.I. Joe fan. Sorry if I embarrassed you by telling everyone that, bro. I think it's stupid, okay, that they're making G.I. Joe blend with the Transformers in this next movie. Wah! Your silly, stupid G.I. Joe show. You know the one where everyone was shooting hundreds of lasers. It's not Star Wars. Why were they lasers? Why couldn't they have been shooting bullets? And then on top of all of that, they shoot like stormtroopers. In other words, they never hit anything. The Transformers are 10 times cooler than anything G.I. Joe ever did. I might need to find someone else to make my clothes. If you're interested, please inbox me. My guy, Winchy, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. You're with the love of your life. I'm with the love of my life. So, Edward, we're both doing pretty doggone good, I would say. Marvin Suarez, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. That's another one, Suarez. I love that. Bear, I'm excited to see our Raiders play in KC in mid-October. I can already see us Raider fans coming out dressed to impress, considering it's Halloween season. More importantly, do you think the refs will continue helping the Queefs win games, leading them into the playoffs again? I sure would love for us to spank that barbecue out of their mouths. What? Great comment. Welcome to the show again. And look, I would say this to you, Marvin. I think, yes, I think that they really wanted them to get the Super Bowl in Las Vegas for obvious reasons. And then, because obviously the Raiders have always hated the politics of the NFL, and the NFL has always hated the Raiders for bending those rules. And so there's been a love-hate relationship between the Raiders, no matter where we are, LA, Oakland, Las Vegas, between the NFL upper management and so on. And they come in with an attitude. When we get a new GM and Goodell finally quits, he'll have an attitude with the Raiders more than likely. So we'll see. But I would say this. They got the one in Vegas, and then they got the three-peat. Now all of the Taylor Swift and the extra security they had to do for her and for their games, and the problems it caused the Chiefs, because the Chiefs were in more close games last year than ever, and they blamed a lot of that on all the distractions and the attention, that Travis Kelce was getting and so on. I seem to see Travis Kelce doing more soup commercials than touchdown dances anymore. And so I would say they're finally vulnerable to an extent that the Raiders could absolutely take them. I think we could absolutely take them. We didn't have the quarterback in the past. Derek Carr was never going to be the guy, although he has beaten them. He was never going to be the guy. Okay, AOC wasn't going to get another opportunity, even though he did beat them and embarrass them pretty good when he played them. But we're going to see AOC go to another team, I think, and he's going to be real good, guys. And it's going to bug us, it's going to bug me. You guys remember, I picked him before we picked him. I said that guy is going to be great wherever he goes, and then our Raiders went and agreed with me. And I was so jacked. I just thought he was going to be a great Raider starter for us, and then we get Josh McDaniels, and he screws everything up, and I think Alexander is the guy that kind of appointed himself as the team captain during the playoffs a while back, or something like that. Okay. Let me see. Place 10 large on Genty winning the Rookie of the Year. You want a piece. Oh. I'm interested, Edward. I'll get back to you about that piece. I might want a slice. I think he's going to do it. I don't think there's any doubt. I think he's going to do it. I think the Raiders are going to want that. In other words, I think that Pete Carrol has said so many times that he wants a running offense. He's going to hit people with, Brock Bowers and the Michael Mayer thing. The only people who are really talking about it is reporters. And they're just saying, what happened to Michael Mayer? Is he going to be able to resurge? Watch. Watch the two tight end attack come back. Or don't you see the pattern here? Number 12, right? Our minority owner with the horse-faced ex-wife, when he used to play for his old team, what did he run? A two tight end offense with two big athletic tight ends, which we have two big athletic tight ends, and then someone shifty in the slot in case those guys don't get open. Tommy Mellett. So we are mimicking what old number 12 upstairs used to be doing there in New England. Oh, Corinna, you met Brian Urlacher? Right on. I bet he was nice. I heard good things. Tim, one more time. Raider Bear, you don't have to tell me how blessed I am. Would you believe Peggy and I have been together since second grade? I would not believe that. No, I'm just kidding. That's incredible, bro. Right on. And I'm joking. I don't know a Raider husband that isn't faithful. I don't know one. I know they're out there, but I don't know any of them. I haven't met one. Yeah, they are moving him to left guard, Mark Vargas. I don't mind that because I just thought he was great, but I really thought he was going to win the right tackle position. I really did. But I think the guys we brought in and the emergence of DJ Glaze made that irrelevant. What does that mean? I'm not reading that comment. It's almost obscene, Raider Devillion, okay? DJ, leave it on your chin, Glaze. Stop that. Don't read out loud. No, see, you can't do that with me, okay? I'm Ron Burgundy. If I see it, I say it. Sometimes I screen, but usually I just say it. Bro Bear, did you see that Laki Tassi is impressing Pete Carrol and that they've moved him to offensive guard? I had heard that they were impressed with him, but I did not hear they moved him to offensive guard. I love the idea of that. To be quite honest with you, the guy is just a physical specimen. I mean, his numbers are outrageous. I mean, he's, what is he, 6'6", 6'7", something like that, 350 pounds, and he's 21. I mean, he's so young. I mean, he's a baby. His body's still growing. He could get stronger with us. This could be ridiculous. Laki Tassi, okay, if his brain can catch up to where his body is in NFL terms. In other words, his mind is not where it's at with the NFL plays and players and moves, and so he's got to learn all that because he was a rugby guy. But if he gets here and he learns quickly with that physique and it being explosive because he's so young, think of it, a guy 6 foot plus, 350 pounds with explosion. That's insanity. He might be one of the freakiest players in this NFL. If he ends up just being good, he could end up just being a freak, man. My 2026 prediction is that Laki Tassi is coming in next year as a complete monster and ready to contribute. Hope to see him in the preseason, but for some reason, I doubt it. Well, yeah, Raider DeVillian, he's got a long climb ahead of him, you know what I mean? And I know you know this, I'm just saying it for the audience, but teams don't like to play guys that are kind of like risk players over a guy that I say drafted in the 4th round. You know what I mean? Because you draft a guy in the 4th round, you're paying him a lot of money. You get a guy from rugby that's effectively an undrafted free agent, you're paying him peanuts. So now I'm going to let the guy who I'm paying peanuts go ahead of my guy I made as a 3rd round pick. So you really only do that if he just flat out is incredible and really outplays him. Armando Medrano, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Or welcome to the show. I should say welcome to the end of the show. But as you can see, I've already posted for tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow for sure. And mostly for the rest of the week, you will be seeing your boy Bear. I've got my schedule under control for the first time in a long while. And we're going to get to this and have a blast tomorrow. I promise. It's going to be good. All right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force. For all you do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. Ahem. Raiders! For all of you that stayed to the end, I really appreciate you joining me. Much love, and I will see you hot, fresh, ready to go tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, same channel, same Bear, only a lot louder. Oh, it's possible. Seriously.